everyone. Welcome back to Real Reds Talk. Happy weekend to everyone as well. You finally made it from Monday to Friday, so big up yourselves and welcome to your favourite football fan channel dedicated to Manchester United. This is your breaking news show. We've got Sheraz, I was going to call you then. Wow, that's the first. We've got Shreyas alongside me to come through these stories. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm doing fairly well. Really happy after the result last night as well. It, feels like we are on a really, really good run right now. And yeah, everything's positive. Nothing negative has come out after a European fixture as well. So it's been a change from last season. So yeah, I think right now, yeah, it's a very good time to be a United fan.
Yeah, because of course, did you manage to watch it last night or was you asleep?
I managed to watch it. Like the moment Anthony scored the second, I knew that the game was done. I slept around the 85th minute mark.
Yeah, education there, much like the United players are. On tonight's show, guys, we are going to be discussing Marcus Rashford's injury. Will he be out for the final? Ten Hag's given an update on this in his press conference today, and there's a couple of more quotes. We're going to dive into that as well. After the wonderful victory against Barcelona last night, it meant that we're through to the next round of the Europa League. I think it's the round of 16, and the draw was live this morning. So we'll talk about our next upcoming opponent. And Anthony hits back at his critics with a wonderful goal last night on him and his performance since he signed for the club as well. So before we dive into these topics on the table, make sure you subscribe to the channel, smash a like on the video, and share the channel to your friends and family as well. If you like our content, check out the review of the game last night as well. It went off. There was loads of us on. Really fun show, passionate, buzzing, all that kind of stuff. Make sure you go check that out because it was a decent review. So we'll start with Marcus Rashford, Treyas.
Yeah.
So Ten Hag, there's a couple of quotes that's come out. He got asked obviously about whether he'll be fit for the final or not, which is, United fans are on the edge of the seats waiting to hear that news. He said the players are now coming in. We have to do investigations. So straight after a game, you can't say you have to wait for the medical staff. I don't know. The players now are coming in. We have to do investigations. We're not particularly sure on the 100% diagnosis. So let the medical do the work and we'll have to wait. Reading that quote, would you lean towards him being out or just a precaution?
I think right now it could be anything. Probably it could just be a precaution as well. But with the volume of games and with the intent, the kind of games that we've got coming up, we've got the Liverpool fixture coming up really soon as well this week. The Newcastle game in the Carabao Cup Final is going to be a very, very big fixture for us as well. So I think every single fan right now is hoping that Marcus Rashford isn't out for long because the impact that he has on that front three. I mean, he basically plays along, the entire front three spots in a game. He plays left wing, he plays right wing at times. He goes up to and plays up as a number 9 as well. So, if we have to look out, into the output of our attackers right now, Marcus Rashford is head and shoulders above anyone in our entire front three. So, if he is out, then it's going to be a very, very, very difficult situation for us to be in because if you take out Rashford's goals from that front three, we actually struggle to get goals. Like right now, Marcus Rashford, the way he's creating goals on his own as well, and he just needs half a chance. The kind of form is that he is in, he just needs to be around the box and he goes for goal. Definitely, Antony seems to be back. I think we're going to be seeing much more of Antony. He obviously in the time that he's been gone, I think a lot of people have been able to realize, the kind of impact that he has on the team. The way he is able to dictate that right hand side as well. He's the only player we have, who actually plays of the right wing and actually has a left foot as a dominating foot because except that Sancho and Rashford, every single one, they don't really favor their left foot. So they actually favor the left foot. So I hope Rashford isn't out for long, but I think it could be a precautionary thing because I think Rashford this season, when it comes to fitness levels, he has had some, knocks on the field, but he's been able to come back really soon from it. So I think it's basically a precaution. But if there is even a 50-50 chance, I don't think that Ten Hag would risk it because right now he's one of the biggest players that we have in our team when it comes to scoring goals.
Absolutely. I wasn't sure whether it was the kind of 50-50 with Arujo or not. Was that what it was? When he went in behind?
Yeah.
Arujo won it, didn't it? But it was kind of after that, he seemed a little bit, I don't know, jaded is the right word in his movement. It was a little bit hobbly.
Yeah.
And then it confused me. Why would you keep him on if it's, Was it 1-1 at the time, or was it 2-1
Yeah,
up? I can't really remember.
I think it was 1-1. I think it was 1-1, and uh, I think we saw a similar thing during the City game as well. Rashford fell down.
Yeah.
All of us, we were really, really scared, because if he is out, then there was no chance that we would have been able to convert that game to 2-1 and actually take 3 points against City. He looked jaded in that game as well. He looked a little, wobbly, but in the end, he was able to actually, come out as really, really strong. I think right now the biggest problem for Ten Hag right now is that the moment he takes off, Rashford, he takes that element of sharpness out of our front three, because right now no one is as sharp as Marcus Rashford when it comes to scoring goals. Like Weghorst hasn't really been scoring that many goals. I think after Rashford, Bruno has scored the most goals for us. Sancho and Anthony has been scoring goals regularly, but if you have to compare it to the number of goals Bruno has scored during the course of the season, uh, it is a very tough situation to be in. So uh, I think, I hope, it isn't something major. Probably, I think it was a right call to actually take Rashford off at the time that he did, because you wouldn't want to risk an injury on, one of your star players, one of the players who's basically, the reason why we are able to be so fluid in our attack. So, yeah, I think that Barcelona game, probably he could have taken him off a little sooner, but I get why he wouldn't want to take Marcus Rashford off in that game.
And you mentioned, you're going to be the perfect segue there for my kind of next thing I wanted to touch on. It's time now for the other attackers to start stepping up to the plate in it and scoring some goals. Weghorst, Antonys, which obviously got his goal last night. Jane and Sancho, this is where the guys need to step up in it.
Exactly, and this is the situation. I think this is the perfect situation for Sancho right now, because if Rashford is even out for a couple of games, then if Sancho is able to step up, then he might be able to cement his position in the starting 11, because right now Garnacho has been playing really, really well. I think when it comes to the pecking order, when it comes to clutch moments, I think even Ten Hag prefers Garnacho over Sancho right now, because Garnacho just offers us that that directness with his pace, and he is fearless when it comes to taking on defenders as well at such a young age. And with Weghorst, I think the thing is, he works really hard on the pitch. Like, he's a complete workhorse on the pitch. If you have to look into his work rate, I think he's one of the best in the team. But when it comes to being that player who can finish off those chances, that's where Weghorst is actually, that's the department where he lacks. I hope Anthony is able to kick on from that goal from Barcelona. I think it was a very, very good goal from him as well, and hopefully that builds his confidence up for the game against Newcastle. And yeah, I think overall this is the time when other players need to step up as well, because we've seen that we can't really depend on just one forward to keep on delivering goals for us every single game. We need to be independent enough. We need to have more deadly factors other than Rashford in that front three as well, because otherwise we've seen teams just have to they just have to block out Rashford or just that one player, and we get absolutely cramped up when we move into the final third. And having Martial out right now is it hurts us really, really badly.
It's having that pace in behind as well, isn't it? Because Barcelona last night, you saw with Weghorst as a striker, it just offered nothing in behind. And you saw the Sandro and even Varane and Casemiro kept playing it into the channels on the right hand side, left hand side, and it was just like, if it was Weghorst running for it, you kind of like, well, it's a bit of a lorry in it, trying to break through a finishing line. It's not the best. So I really hope he's fit for Newcastle. But let me know in the comment section, guys, if you're slightly worried about this. Who you'd replace. It's a bit of pre-early talk, but who you would replace him with? Would it be Garnacho? Would you go for a Sancho for the final if he is out? And let me know your overall thoughts on Marcus last night as well, because he was a little bit quiet, wasn't he? Last night, I thought.
Yeah, I think last night we started the game off really, really well. I think it was within the first 5 minutes that Bruno had that really, really great opportunity to score as well. I think if he would have converted that opportunity.
Should have buried that.
Yeah. I think he should have taken that opportunity as well. And if you go 1-0 up against Barcelona at Old Trafford within 5 minutes of the game, I think it puts us in a very, very dictating position in that fixture.
Yeah.
I think once again, I really don't think that should have been given as a penalty. after the tackle that we saw in the at the Camp Nou against Rashford. I really don't think that that tackle should have been given as a penalty, but overall we were able to turn it around. And yeah, I think Rashford, the biggest issue for him last night was uh, he wasn't able to get that person around him to create space for him. Like Weghorst was working really hard, but once again, like you mentioned, even though Barcelona was leaving spaces behind, Weghorst wasn't really quick enough to get into those spaces. And
Yeah.
players like Araujo and Kunde, they were just able to cover those spaces up really really quickly. So Rashford, when you play him up as a striker, you need to have spaces for him to actually run into, because if you don't provide Rashford with spaces, especially when he's featuring as a number 9, he actually offers us nothing. It's better to play him off as off the left wing, and that's why we saw Ten Hag actually shift things up at half time. We saw Bruno actually being shifted as well. We saw Weghorst being shifted because it wasn't working out as good as it would have worked as it was working out against Leicester. It didn't really work out for us against Barcelona.
No, you're absolutely spot on there, Shreyas. Just a few shout outs to people in the chat. We've got Ritika saying Shreyas with a bit of a love heart hands there, so a fan for Shreyas. We've got Shah Sam saying, if he is, I think he'll be fine without Rashford for 2 or 3 weeks, since the players have bought Ten Hag's system and any player can slot in easily. Well, you'd like to think that's the thoughts of the dressing room, innit? If Rashford is out, we're not just absolutely gutted, and you think, oh, we're not gonna win this game now because Rashford's gone. Like, there's still plenty of quality in this team, and you think Newcastle are without Nick Pope, which we're going to touch on as well. Shuita Artish, I'm probably butchering that pronunciation wrong, but hello to yourself. Yeah, Newcastle, it's interesting, isn't it? Ten Hag been talking about them today as well. He said Newcastle are an annoying team and questioned their time wasting. He said they have the lowest in the league for ball in play and they're quite successful with it. Annoying, they try to annoy you. If you see from the FA, referees want to play effective time. They have the lowest in the league. They are quite successful with it, but it's up to us to get into speed in the game. But we are dependent on the refereeing as well. And on the trophy in general, it's a great opportunity to get the silverware in. Football is all about glory and honour. We deserve to play in the final, and we have a great chance to win the cup. The fans are waiting for it, a trophy. That's quite interesting, that quote, isn't it? A slight dig at Newcastle for time wasting. Do you think that's what they might try to do as well in the final? Slow it down as much as they can.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at it in that perspective, Newcastle are pretty much the underdogs in that game. Like, they've got their starting keeper out. I think Loris Karius is pretty much going to be playing for them in goal as well. So they are, the underdogs in this game, and they know that the kind of form that United are playing in at the moment. Casemiro being back in that midfield, probably being, finally we will be able to see Casemiro, Bruno, and Sabitzer as a midfield trio in that game. And there are a lot of factors that actually work to our favor. Casemiro and Bruno haven't really, lost a game when they've been playing together. We still haven't really lost a game in which Fred has scored up until now. So there are a lot of different factors which United brings at the table at the moment. And yeah,
do you know there's a stat on Fred Shreyas? I don't know if you've seen it, that he's, apart from Rashford, he's scored the most goals at Old Trafford this season. Someone mentioned it last night on the preview. I was like, surely not. And I thought about it. It's like, he's actually scored quite a few goals, to be fair.
Yeah.
Like 5 or 6 goals, I think, and they've all come at Old Trafford.
So. I mean, that's the question. I mean, do we extend Fred's contract? Will Fred be staying longer?
Question,
yeah, I think because right now, in both perspectives, if you want to extend his contract, you can go ahead at his performances and say that he can be a really really decent squad player. He can offer us a lot of energy off the bench, and Ten Hag seems to like him as well. But on the other hand, you can actually look into it and say right now is the best moment to actually cash out on Fred. He's been having really good performances. If you want to sell him at a higher price, this is the best moment to actually sell him, because you never know, Fred can go off to having 6 months of absolutely disastrous performances. So there are two sides to the coin in here, and I think Ten Hag has a really really big job when it comes to filtering out this team in the next summer, because Sabitzer wants to stay as well, and Ten Hag seems to like Sabitzer a lot, and for 20 million I think Sabitzer is an absolute bargain. So I think definitely there will be a big job on Ten Hag's hands, and it'll be interesting as to how he wants to proceed in this window, because I'm sure he wants another midfielder in there. So if he does want another midfielder in there, I think one midfielder will have to be sacrificed in that process. So whether it's going to be Fred, whether it's going to be McTominay,
McTominay.
exactly.
It'll be
So,
McTominay.
yeah. So
Yeah.
we'll just have to
Probably
see. Yeah.
Probably to the team that we're playing tomorrow on Sunday. Sorry, not tomorrow. I'm a day ahead there. Probably to Newcastle.
Yeah.
But like you said, if you could buy a bit for 20 million and sell McTominay for 20 to 30, that is a no-brainer.
Exactly.
An absolute no-brainer.
Exactly.
So hopefully we can do business like that. Sticking with the team, Newcastle, we're going to have the preview for the final tomorrow, by the way, so make sure you tune in for that. Probably about 5 to 7 o'clock, somewhere around that area. I'll figure it out with the rest of the lads. But we're going to have a live for that massive, we're going to have a preview, for that massive game. Josh, very quickly, like I said, we're going to do the preview, but I want just a little glimpse into that tie on Sunday, Shreyas. What worries you the most about their team or individuals, do you think?
Bruno Guimaraes. I think
Is he back fit?
I think
again?
he is. I think he's back fit. Okay. I think he's back fit for that game as well. So I think it's not sure whether he'll be back, but there are chances.
50-50,
yeah, there are chances, and I think if he plays, then he'll definitely have an impact. I think in that midfield, he's able to make that team tick. I think right now Newcastle are really missing Bruno Guimaraes, because the impact that he has in that midfield. He allows all the attackers to move forward, and the way he's able to control the ball in that midfield as well. I think once again another player that I wanted United to really go in for. I think Newcastle signed him for about 35 or 40 million. So he's been once again another steal deal for Newcastle in there. And I think Bruno Guimaraes is someone that definitely needs, if he plays, I think just put Fred on and mark him for the entire game, because you wouldn't want Bruno Guimaraes to actually get going, because if he does, then Newcastle do end up taking control of that midfield. But except that, right now with the way we are playing, I'm not really that scared of the other players that they have. I think Guimaraes is definitely one who can have an impact, but except that, probably Isaac. But if I have to look into the players that I have, that United has at the moment, like Lisandro and Varane, I don't see any other player, or Casemiro, I don't see anyone actually threatening us in that perspective.
Yeah, the way we're playing defensively at the minute, we're unbelievable. We've got a comment here from I Love Manchester United, so I think they love United. Big up yourself. I think this Rashford thing could also be a master plan by Ten Hag, creating a doubt in that Newcastle dressing room. So a bit of a smoke screen, perhaps.
Yeah.
Could be. Yeah. I said that. That's the first thing I saw when it was like, we're not too sure. Because I looked at the injury last night. He carried on playing. So how bad is it? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and we've seen players, having much better fitness standards this season. Varane seems to have a very good fitness standard if I have to compare it to last season's. Rashford actually looks a lot decent when it comes to his fitness levels. I think barring Martial, every single player has worked on his fitness. And that is the thing. Ten Hag might have actually thought of it. With the problem right now with Newcastle is their first choice keepers are pretty much out. Nick Pope is out. Dubravka can't play. So Eddie Howe would be looking to go more defensive, so that Loris Karius actually hasn't that much to do in that game. Pretty much go in for a stalemate. Probably play. He would just like to disrupt the play, like you mentioned that they like to waste time. I think that will be their play once again in that final. And it could definitely be a smoke screen. You might be hearing during the evening that Rashford is ready, playing off from the left, and anything can happen. Probably Rashford could feature off the bench. I think any other way, if Rashford starts, if Rashford's off the bench, either way he's gonna have an impact if he plays.
Yeah, I was about to say I would not mind him off the bench at all. If you've got tired legs or you're going to extra time,
exactly.
You bring
right
it on
now, because right now we've got Garnacho, who comes on and takes advantage of having tired legs.
Like
imagine and imagine Rashford coming on and taking advantage of tired legs. I mean, it will be a completely different game altogether.
I mean, I remember him doing it against Leipzig in the Champions League, and he came on and he scored a hat trick. Yeah. So he's more than capable of it. Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
Just for you guys quickly watching along with us in a minute, if you haven't liked the video yet, please do. Just a little button there, bottom left corner. I'm watching you. Just the last bit on the Newcastle and the trophy in the Carabao Cup Final. Obviously, a massive game for Shreyas. But what do you think a trophy he'll do for this team in Ten Hag long term? I don't mean obviously when we win it, it's going to be excitement. There's going to be jubilee. It's going to be everyone's going to be absolutely buzzing with it. It'll be the first trophy in 5-6 years. But long term, what would it do for this squad?
I think it will be a starting point. I think Ten Hag, after winning that trophy, would say that this is where we are actually starting from. This is the first trophy that we've got, and we aren't really stopping on just one. We're still in 4 competitions in this season. We're the only team which is actually in every single competition that we've started in so far. And with the way Ten Hag has actually set his sights, I actually don't think that he's looking to concede on any single tournament right now.
He wants to win everything.
Yeah, he wants to go in for the Prem as well. He wants to go in for the FA Cup. Yeah, and I think if you actually would have looked at it from a different perspective, like take apart the the lack of squad depth we have and just look at the table and then look at the fixtures, you would say that United are still pretty much in the hunt. If you take all of those factors out and if you look at the fixtures, because City and Arsenal have still got to play each other, you would say that United actually have a really, really good fighting chance to actually go in for the trophy. And I don't really believe it, but I think if by the 33rd match day, if we are still in third and the point gap is just 2 points or just 1 point, I would say that we can win the title. I think then I can actually say then game on, because
absolutely.
It's in our DNA.
Lost for words.
Yeah.
Lost for words.
I mean, I would never have expected it to actually be in this kind of position last season. I think top 4 would have been. I would have cried if we would have gotten top 4 this season. But now the thing is, all the people who made those memes, imagine on 28th May, Ten Hag sitting by the side of the Premier League title. I mean, you never know if it might happen.
Can I just say, at the start of the season, I think I was the only one who did the preview who said top 4.
Everyone else was 5th, 6th, 5th, 6th.
Yeah. So I've always believed you, Eric. I've always believed you.
I even said West Ham could get top 4 over United. That's the situation we were in.
It said Spurs as well, to be fair. He was still in with the shouts, I think. To think top 4 and a trophy in his first season would be absolutely incredible, especially with the things he's had to deal with, innit?
Yeah, it's exactly. I mean, I think up until now, he has, dealt with every single problem, I think, really, really fantastically. I think the press have tried really, really hard. The media has tried really, really hard to actually, stump him in those press conferences. But he has had the, best answer to every single question that we've had. And I think the biggest thing is right now, I mean, we've had the Ronaldo saga. We've had, a lot of questions being asked about Harry Maguire being benched all of a sudden and Varane and Martinez being as a starting pair for us. We've had the whole ownership saga as well, that United are up for sale. We're going to have new owners. So there have been a lot of chaotic stuff for actually, Erik ten Hag to deal with within the span of 8 to 9 months. And he has completely transformed the side. Like, taking aside from, I think we scored 58 goals last season and conceded about 48 or 50. I can't even remember. And right now, we pretty much have the best defense in the league. Like, the best defense in the league. Luke Shaw looks like a completely rejuvenated player who can play as a left back, who can play as a centre back. You've got Malacia, who's learning, but when it comes to big games, he knows how to step up. Against Liverpool, he was absolutely fantastic. Against Manchester City, he was absolutely fantastic. And except that, Diogo Dalot and Aaron Wan-Bissaka, I think a lot of people wrote off Wan-Bissaka. But now I think we've got a really, really good competition at right back as well. So at the defensive side of things, it looks really well. I think David De Gea has improved a lot when it comes to his distribution if you have to compare it to last season. Of course, you can't really say that Casemiro has improved. I think Casemiro has overall improved the team altogether. I think he's the only player who I can say, his bad games are, still better than, many players' best games in their season, in their careers. And Eriksen, the impact that he's had since he's come in, we actually feel the loss of Eriksen when he's not in the team. That's how good he is.
Well, he's third in the league for such a reason, isn't
exactly,
he? Obviously,
infectious
with his creativity.
Yeah, and people say that since the start of the season, Eriksen, he isn't able to play to the level that he did in the first 10 to 15 games, but he's still delivering a lot for us on the pitch. And Bruno I think he's adapted really well under Ten Hag as well. Bruno seems rejuvenated. I think having that captain's armband, he's leading by example at the moment. And
Yeah.
one thing that we missed out a lot on was, the youth players development. Kobe Mainu getting chances, Alejandro Garnacho getting chances, Facundo Pellistri as well getting chances as well, definitely getting chances as well. And I think that's the case. I think if Martial was fit, I think we would have been second this season. I think if Martial would have been fit, we would have been easily been in second position right now and could have actually been challenging, because I think he fits the system. I think Ten Hag actually likes Martial a lot, and he knows that he can deliver. I think at the start of the season, his go-to front three was Martial, Rashford, and Sancho, and it seemed to work really, really good in preseason. I think Martial pretty much scored in every single game of preseason. That he played really, really well. I think it just comes down to fitness, because we see it in the Manchester City game as well. He wasn't fit. He wasn't really able to run. He was doing good, even without being able to accelerate. But we need a striker, and if Martial is able to come back fit till the end of the season, I think it will be bonus points for us, because just having Martial, Rashford, and Antony, I think as a front three, it's much more fluid. I think Martial is able to link up the attack much well, and if I have to compare it to Weghorst, definitely Martial will be able to offer us more. But the jury is still out on Martial. I really hope that he comes back.
Oh, that's an understatement. The jury's still out. Yeah, it's been adjourned at this point. I don't know what's going on. Yeah, if you would have said to any United fan at the start of the season, we'd be starting Weghorst, Garnacho, and Rashford in the first at Nou Camp against Barcelona, you would have been like, "What are you on about?" But just shows everything that's happened in the season, the things we've had to deal with. The Ten Hag's done phenomenal. I just want to read out a comment from Dave. So pick up yourself, Dave. Have a lovely weekend, mate. He said the injury didn't look that bad. Worst comes to worst, he misses the game, maybe West Ham. As long as we have him for the rest of the season, that's the important thing. And I think that's a very, very sensible comment there from Dave. Right, we'll move on to the Europa League, from one competition to the next competition, because of course we're still in fall. So the Europa League draw was this morning. Our run in with Spanish teams continues, Shreyas. First, Sociedad in the group, then Barcelona in the playoffs, and now we get Real Betis in the round of 16, who currently sit fifth in La Liga. In their group, I believe they had Ludogorets, HJK, and Roma. I think it was.
Yeah, Roma.
They finished top of the group. They won 5 and drew 1. So we will play Real Betis the first time in a competitive game in our history. Apparently, that's what we read before. So thoughts on the Europa League.
One sec. Yeah, I think Real Betis, like I mentioned, they're fifth in La Liga at the moment. I think the biggest problem with La Liga is you can't really judge sides apart from Barcelona and Real Madrid. The biggest issue is, if you have to look into all these teams, the Valencias, the Sevillas, Real Sociedad, Real Betis, it is difficult to judge these squads because they don't really compete for titles. The thing is, they just do well enough to actually just get into the top 6 positions, and that's the thing. I think if we can beat Barcelona, I think we can easily beat Real Betis. If you have to compare both of those teams, the quality levels are completely, on different levels. And I think right now we are in a really good spot. I think if we take our chances, I think we can beat any team in Europe right now. If we actually take our chances and fish them off, I think right now being clinical in front of goal is is an area where we are definitely lacking. Apart from Rashford, I think we still need to work for, in our ability to finish off chances in front of goal, because it hurts us a lot. We've seen it happen. I think against Barcelona, I think the first leg as well, I think if we converted our chances, we could have scored 5 past them. It would have been a 5-2 game. Definitely would have been a 5-2 game. And
like an accumulation of the chances over both legs.
Yeah. And that you can't really, I think against Betis it wouldn't really hurt us that much. But when you move deeper into the Europa League, when you've got teams like Arsenal coming up in front of you, you can't really afford to miss these sort of chances, because you know that the other team is definitely going to come out and hurt you. And
absolutely.
that is just the one area where it actually, scares me, that United won't be able to take the chances. We might be able to play the better football in comparison to a team, but when it comes to finishing off chances, the other team might be better than us, and we've seen that happen a lot of times against us this season itself, against Crystal Palace as well. It just took one free kick to actually, steal steal the 3 points away
Lapse
from
in
us.
concentration.
Exactly.
That's all it takes.
Exactly.
That's all it takes.
So I still think that we'll be able to make it to the semis or finals in the Europa League. I think it just comes down, if we are able to keep the players we have right now, without any injuries up until then, I think we can win the competition. I think it just comes down to how many of our players will be able to keep this up, because we're playing a game every single 3 days, 2 days, 4 days. It's not enough rest time for these players.
But you're kind of answering my questions ahead of time here, so couple of different ones towards you, but just very quickly, people who are joining just now, I'm seeing the numbers going up, so make sure you subscribe to the channel, please smash like on the video. We're talking about Marcus Rashford. Will he be out or not? Let us know your thoughts on that. The Newcastle game on Sunday, which we're going to have a live preview for tomorrow, 5-7 o'clock, somewhere around that time. And yeah, we're just discussing the Europa League draw right now. Obviously, we've got Real Betis, and it'll be the first time we ever play them in a competitive game, so your thoughts on that as well. Yeah, after that win last night, do you think we're favourites to win the competition? Like we said, I think Arsenal play Sporting Lisbon, don't they? So that could be a tough game for them. Sporting are not a bad team.
Yeah, they're definitely not a bad team, and I think Sporting are one of those teams that they can surprise opponents. I think it was last season when they actually beat Dortmund in the Champions League as well. So
yeah,
I think that definitely Sporting has always been a club that it is a platform for young players to develop and move on to bigger clubs. And right now they've got some really good talents here. So Arsenal definitely, I don't think that they will be taking that game lightly. And the biggest thing right now is we are definitely favorites. I think beating a team like Barcelona definitely makes you favorites to win a competition. And it wasn't really an easy game as well. It wasn't a weak team that
warning. It goes out to the rest of Europe, innit? That's what it is.
Exactly.
Like, we are here, mate.
And before we even went to the camp now, all of I think most of the teams in Europe and fans in Europe actually wrote us off. We don't really have a chance. We can't really win. But we had that sense of composure, that because we knew that what we accomplished in this short amount of time. And people saying that Xavi has developed the team, he's done this, he's done that. His record in European competition has been abysmal. Like, he's been conceding goals a lot. He's getting spanked up by Bayern every single time. Inter, us as well. We pretty much scored 4 goals across the 2 legs against Barcelona. And
not only that, Shreyas, but the fact of what we have in Rashford, Bruno Fernandes, these guys, when we play an away game against the big teams, you've seen it happen with City, Arsenal, Liverpool, Rashford in behind, they can't stop it.
Yeah. Exactly. And right now, I don't think anyone, when it comes to stopping Rashford, I don't think anyone has the formula right now, because when he's in front of goal, you can't really stop him. He's gonna go for goal. He's unstoppable right now. And the form that he's in, I think he's making the most of it as well. Like, he knows that he's in good form. He knows that, right now, even he knows it's himself that, if he takes half a chance, it's gonna go in front of goal. And that's what we saw against Arsenal. The first goal that he scored, he knew that, even if I go from a shot from there, I have it in my locker to actually, score a goal.
What a goal that was. Yeah. Unbelievable, that goal. I couldn't believe that when it went in.
And that's the thing, that's the kind of mentality that Ten Hag has developed in these players as well. He's built the confidence in these players to take those sort of opportunities. And the thing is that it took Xavi like 2 to 3 seasons to actually come where he is right now, and he still came third in his Champions League group, knocked out of Europa as well. Ten Hag has done it in 8 months. Like, any single team that you pick from the Premier League as well. Arsenal, it took 3 to 4 seasons. City, I mean, let's not talk about them. Liverpool, Liverpool are pretty much, they're right now really, really struggling, because they are not really treating the issues that are most prominently in there. Chelsea are struggling in there as well, even though they've got surplus funds. But United, I mean, we've had our worst season, and we're pretty much back, like actually back. We are fighting distance.
you can see this with other teams that they're favoring us. Like a lot of teams are talking about the manager as well. In like they're like, you've got a good manager there. If you hear someone off AFTV talking about how he's and when they're saying like, look, United's still there. We're only 2-3 points off City. So City are in a title race. We're in a title race, but we can just be them dark horses who just let them two battle it out, let them two go at it. Kind of like, you played PUBG yourself or people who play Battle Royale mode. Scrap towards the end. Come in with a shotgun towards it. Bang, bang. Win the game. Get your shit and get out of there. That's how we should treat it.
Like from 50 meters behind, just take a grenade out. No need to even go there. So, I mean, that's the thing. The thing is, right now, United are overachieving. And the biggest issue with overachieving squads is that, even if they stay where they are, it won't really hurt them that much because they know that they're already overachieving. Right now, there's not a bar.
We've already played them both.
Exactly.
By the way.
Yeah. And right now we actually don't know ourselves, and we haven't actually set a bar to actually say that that's the level where we can actually just reach. We can't go up from there. Right now we can actually hurt a lot of teams because we are really unpredictable. We might come in second, we might come in third, we might even go down to fourth. You never really know. And we might be able to move in first as well. So I think United right now, out of all the top 4 teams, I think United are the most dangerous teams because City, I really don't know what's going on there, but they're struggling. I think right now, I think against Leipzig as well, they drew 1-1, and I really don't think that Pep is comfortable under the system there as well. I think he's.
Did you see Pep's comments on Bournemouth? Because they're playing Bournemouth next. He did a thing and he was like, they're a fantastic team. It's going to be a really difficult game and all this. And you're just like he wouldn't be saying this. If City were high and flying and he was in this kind of run of momentum, you would not be saying that about Bournemouth. Bournemouth have conceded the most goals in the league. So on average, you would expect Man City to absolutely dominate about 5-0. So
I mean,
I thought that was hilarious. He looks like he's shitting himself.
Yeah, because he knows that he's in a really, really rough position right now. I mean, for him, the entire season, it pretty much rests on the game against Arsenal. If they lose against Arsenal, it's done.
Yeah,
I think for them, it's done.
Sticking with Arsenal, sorry, because I want to bring it back slightly. We got carried away there with some Premier League talk. I want to bring it back slightly to the Europa League. It could end up actually playing them in the final, but they play Sporting, we play thing. You think both teams get past there, and then it gets really interesting. You start getting into quarterfinals, semi-finals. Maybe we can start dreaming. But I wanted to ask you about the dates that have been set for both games. So we play them at home, and they play 4 days Liverpool, 4 days before Southampton in the Premier League. Do you have any worries with that kind of fixture congestion, or just same as usual? Just carry on.
I think right now, obviously that fixture congestion might come back to bite us, but the levels that these players are showing, like if I look into the players who actually, with the work, which have the highest work rates, Bruno's level actually hasn't really dropped. I mean, I don't know how he's operating on the pitch at times, but for the entire 90, you can see that high energy from Bruno going on. I think Fred has been really, really good when it comes to his energy levels as well. He, he doesn't really fade. He either has a bad performance or a good performance. That's pretty much with Fred. I think Casemiro, once again, he's the consistency king in that team. So I think right now, Ten Hag has just developed that mentality that, this is the thing. We have to play every single, we have to play a game every single, every 3 days. Just being, sad about it or complaining about it isn't really going to change that fact. So the better thing to do is just go on to the training ground, do your thing and win the game.
I think a perfect thing you can use for this as a bit of motivation is going back to the Sociedad game where we lost 1-0.
Yeah.
And there was a couple of players complacent in that. So I would use that. If I'm the manager, I'd go in and say, look, you thought you was going to slap Real Sociedad. A lot of fans thought you was going to maul. And you got beat at Old Trafford as well, I think it was. That was the last time, coincidentally, that we lost at home.
Exactly.
Against Real Sociedad, that Spanish team. So you're going to use that as motivation, aren't you?
Yeah, definitely we are. And like you said, we can't right now. The best thing about this team is we don't really take any team for granted. Like, even if you see us playing against teams like Nottingham Forest or like you mentioned Bournemouth, you can see us, like you can see that the attention that is paid to detail. Like every single player on that pitch knows what they have to do every single moment, and that's why I think the defense right now is providing us the platform to actually do
Yeah.
what we are doing right now. I think the defense is absolutely, laser focused for the entire 90 minutes, no matter who the opposition is. And yeah, I think once again, all the credit for that once again has to go to Ten Hag, because last season, if you expect this from our team, we all know what's going to happen. Like
Worlds
one game
apart.
every single 3 days, we know what's going to happen.
Them two centre backs, Lissandro Varane, for me, I said it last night, and people might have been going on thinking, but they're the best in the world at the minute.
Yeah.
They really are the best in the world at the minute. I can't think of another centre back partnership, because even when you look at across the pond, like PSG, like who are in shit form themselves, they're not doing amazing. And Marquinhos, Kimpembe, Ramos are not in the best of form. Juventus have completely crumbled. Usually, you'd associate them with the really good defensive side with your Chiellinis and Bonucci's, who obviously moved on now. Man City are all over the deck. They've Ake, and they're playing different centre backs all the time. Saliba and Gabriel have had a bit of a rough patch.
Yeah.
At the minute, I thought it was a really good partnership. Tottenham play with a back five. They're chopping and changing. They play Ben Davis at centre back. They're not even in the discussion. Like, for me, they really are. I did think Araujo was good last night, though, for Barcelona. I thought he's a really good centre back. And if you're going to place Varane eventually down the line, obviously I don't mean now, he was someone I would identify, and he was someone who Ragnick identified as well as going to get and put in his team. I thought he looked phenomenal. But yeah, Europa League, it's exciting times. It's weird because it felt like a Champions League game last night.
Exactly. Yeah.
It should have been.
Yeah, it should have been one. And you could see, that intensity in that game, like the kind of atmosphere that that Old Trafford was offering to that game as well. You could see that Champions League. I think that game actually goes, it easily goes in for a final or a semi-final in a Champions League. I think it definitely does.
That's what I mean.
And
absolutely.
Right now, I think the kind of level that of teams that Europa League has at the moment, I think it's a very, very good, it's a very good competition, because the level of teams is really, really good. And I mean, barring the Liverpool fixture, I think the best European game that we had, this week was United against Barcelona. I think it definitely was.
Yeah.
And
everyone pays attention to that fixture, don't they? When that game's on, all eyeballs are on that, and it produced everything. The first leg was fantastic. The second leg was fantastic.
Yeah,
like you couldn't ask for more, really.
Exactly, and that's why if I could just wish for anything this season, it would be to actually beat Arsenal to win the Europa League. Like beat. I mean, that game
watch them crumble in the league,
yeah,
and then beat them in the final as well. Like, absolutely.
I mean, because just imagine, Arsenal. Because I don't know how, but somehow they do manage to pull it off. They managed to finish off at fifth. They might. You never really know. I mean,
if you used to put money on it, I know you're not a betting man, but if you used to put money on it, do you think Arsenal will do it?
I think
yeah, you think they will?
Yeah, I think.
Well, what they had a City now, because the City they're not with it at all, are they? Man City at the minute do not see themselves.
Yeah, but that the thing is with Man City is they don't really have to play the best of football to win games. Like for Arsenal, they do need to play the best of football to win games. Right now with City is, even if they have a bad game and Haaland has like 2 chances, they're gonna win a game. That's just the thing with Man City. And I think when it comes to title chasing, they have the squad for it. Like Kevin De Bruyne, when it comes to chasing down titles, they've done it a lot. And I think they've got the perfect setup for it. But I really wouldn't mind, that Arsenal drop off, City aren't able to do well, we end up winning a title.
Yeah, we sneak up like a little snake behind him, and then like boom, they're so focused on each other and the title charge between them teams.
Exactly.
They're not even looking at United, and United are like coming up behind him, like boom, and snatch it at the last minute. I'd love it, and it's definitely a possibility. Do I personally believe with title race? I've said before, no, I think it's too soon. I think squad depth isn't good enough. If we pick up a couple more injuries, which is more than likely, I think we'll struggle. But I do think we'll win a trophy, and I do think we'll get top 4.
Yeah. If though we are, by the 30th match day, we are in second, and the gap between whether it's City or Arsenal, the gap is just 2 points. Would you go for it altogether, the Premier League?
Well, that's it, innit? That's what I mean. If you could just get one cup tucked away now, so if you win the Carabao Cup and that's done and dusted, to be honest, if the chance for a Premier League title is there, fucking go all out for it.
Like
Go all out for it.
considering the situation that there is, would you go
Yeah.
for the Europa or the Prem?
No, I'm going for the Premier League because top four you're going to get anyway.
Yeah.
It's pretty much. I look at other teams around us, and I think top four's nailed on for us. I think the trophy, we've got a very good chance of winning that. We're definitely the favourites in that game. So yeah, go for the Prem, man. Absolutely, why not? What if you got to lose? You get top four, which is what you was aiming for anyway from the start of the season. Go for it, absolutely, go for it. Right, I want to touch on Antony because he's had his critics straight as he's had a lot of critics as you'd expect with a big price tag and the kind of flair player that he is. But he has scored in some big games since he's joined. He scored against Arsenal, scored against Man City, scored against Barcelona last night, the winning goal after coming back from injury. We really missed him when he went in the team, didn't we?
Yeah, and that's the thing. I think with this team, the biggest thing is that players like Eriksen and Antony, they might not be playing the best of football, but the difference that they make by just their presence on the field, it's you can feel the drop off when they're not in the team. And the thing with Antony is he's one of those players that he just needs that second, like just 1 second to actually create a goal, and we've seen that happen a lot of times. I think out of all his goals, personally for me, the goal that he scored against Manchester City, I think that was one of the best goals that he scored. Like absolutely
beautiful,
out of nowhere. That goal just came out of nowhere. I think against Arsenal. Yeah,
it had no significance, did it? Because it was such a worldie. If that got scored in a 1-0 game, you're like, oh my, everybody's talking about it.
Yeah, I mean, if that game would have just ended even in a draw, I would have said that was the goal of the season for us. That's how good that goal was. And I think right now that goal against Barcelona, we've seen, with players, like we saw it against Rashford, that goal against Liverpool just completely shifted his season altogether. Could that goal against Barcelona be a season shifter for Antony as well? Because he looked really hungry when he came on yesterday. He looked really hungry when he came on. Like, you could see him moving into spaces, you could see him dribbling. And the best thing that I've seen from Antony, he's been getting better and better every game. Like you can't really say with Antony that he's repeating the same mistakes every single game. He's been getting better and better. He's been improving. Once again, he moved from the Eredivisie to the Premier League, a much more physical league. It takes time to adapt for forward players, and I think that he's done that really well. Once again, he has had the perfect manager to work under as well. Coached him at Ajax, so Ten Hag actually knows what he's working with. And yes, once again, the thing with Antony is I think he's going to be I think next season, in the coming seasons, he'll be a star player for us. He'll have a big impact on the team. And I think the moment you see players like, I think the biggest thing that we're missing right now and why we are not getting the best out of Antony is we don't have a stable front three. I think the moment you bring stability into that front three, you can see Rashford scoring much more. Like if he's got 22 right now, you have a striker, Rashford's going to score 10 to 15 more goals easily.
Just a striker. That's all you need. Just get a striker. Sorry, very quickly, we've got 22 people currently in the chat. Please smash like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and get your comments in about Antony, his performance last night. I know you're looking forward. Do you think he'll start on the weekend as well? I was going to ask Shreyas that as well, but I just wanted very quickly. Do you think the fact that the board obviously ended up overpaying because they fucked up essentially? Do you think the fact we've had to pay extra where we could have got him for 40, 50, that's just added heat on him as well, hasn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Once again, you're coming to Manchester United from the Eredivisie. You already have a target on your back, and then you end up becoming one of the highest paid players from the Eredivisie to ever be signed, and that too by Manchester United. So he became like the perfect target for the British media. I think he definitely became the perfect target for them. And up until now, I think the best thing about what has happened with Antony is the fans have actually come out really well to protect him. I think the fans, they've come out, they've actually protected him because. And I think the fans have raised valid questions as well. Why hasn't anything come about Jack Grealish the way it has come about Antony? Like honestly, why hasn't it come out? I mean, this is his first season in the Prem, and it's not even a full season, and he's doing much better.
Well, you saw the video.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I saw the comments as well.
Yeah, about Sterling. Richarlison was bought for 60 million pounds. Another Brazilian attacker still hasn't scored yet for Tottenham, and he's played a similar amount of games to Antony. But where's
more games than Antony?
Yeah, because it's United, and you always get heat with certain players. Like, it's bullshit. It's bullshit. Like, I get there are things about his game that annoy people. Certain things. I get that he gets it in certain channels, and he's a bit hesitant to run at him. But if you don't understand tactically what he does for us and how important he is to the team, then don't bother commenting, because you saw every single United fan saw how much of a hole there was in that team when he wasn't in it. He just keeps that balance, being that inverted winger, holding the width for certain players to his other space. The link up with Diego Dallo behind him, the underlapping runs, overlapping runs, and his work rate off the ball as well. The reason why Bruno Fernandes was playing on the right quite a lot, I get he's good there as well. He's got his own kind of tactical significance, but it's because how hard he works. You look at Barcelona's left back last night. Is it Balde? Is that his name?
Yeah.
Look at the damage he was doing at times, and Bruno was struggling with it, and this is a hard-working player.
Yeah.
So you oppose threats like this, especially in the Premier League. You talk about, I know Liverpool are doing shit at the minute, but you look at Robertson and Trent, and you look at sometimes, when City create overloads in them areas, they're really important areas to deal with, and you need workhorses on each side keeping the shape. It's so important for it, and people don't understand that side of the game. You just look at what he does on the ball, and it's like, oh no, not good enough. He's shit. You don't know what he's doing.
Yeah, because I think you mentioned it earlier as well that I think it was in the Tottenham game or the game before that, in the Everton game, that people just said that Antony doesn't really favor his right foot, so he wouldn't really be able to be a complete winger. And the thing is, it doesn't really matter if he doesn't favor his right foot, because does Ten Hag want that sort of a winger that can function of the right as well as left? Because Ten Hag just wants him to be in the right areas to create the overload for a fullback. And I think up until now he's gelled really up. He's gelled really really well with Diogo Dallo. I think when Dallo hadn't gone injured, I think they formed a really good duo of that right hand flank. And the thing with Antony is I think Bruno plays much better with him. The reason being that Bruno has much more area when he plays as a 10. He has much more area to cover. It provides him with more spaces when he's playing alongside Antony as well as Rashford. And I think Antony, he's just going to get better and better with time. And the moment you put on someone like Sancho of the right wing, we lose that directness. We lose that that flair of the right wing. I think Jadon Sancho is a very very gifted player. I think he's going to be an important player as well in the coming weeks. But what Antony does of the right wing, Sancho isn't able to provide us with that. And that's why I think, like you mentioned, in the games that we've got coming up, I think against the Liverpool game, Antony is going to be much more important in that game out of any single player in that wing, because already Trent is struggling. Robertson is the one that we have to tackle in that game.
Yeah, because likewise, Robertson's a workhorse as well. Just for people, we've got nearly 30 people in the chat. Yeah. Thank you so much for that. Really appreciate it. Get your questions in. It's Friday night. We'll do it. Me and Shreyas are happy to do a bit of a Q&A. So if you want to throw any questions in there, any topic, more than happy to stay on and chat to people. So would you on Antony quickly? Would you start him on Sunday, Shreyas?
Oh yeah, I think definitely. I think the kind of player he is, he needs confidence to play. Like we've seen that against Tottenham, the way he dribbled past 3 players at once. You could just see that. The body language, it just his body language speaks confidence. He looks really motivated. He looks ready. I think he's very ecstatic about being in a final for Manchester United in his first season itself. So, and I think Martial is once again definitely going to be out for that game. So, and if Rashford is fit enough, I would go Rashford. I would go Weghorst, and I would go Antony. The reason being, I think with Rashford and Antony being out, Weghorst, I think the onus of scoring goals wouldn't be on Weghorst. I think the more important role was for Weghorst would be to link up and create spaces for Rashford and Antony to move into.
Yeah, we've got a comment. Right, I'm just going to... Vincent is called Shreyas, just to let you know. It's not called Glasses, man. He's called Shreyas, just to let you know. He said he didn't know your names, in fairness. He said he didn't know your name, in fairness. So, yeah, look, you've tried. You've tried. But he says, where are you going to watch the final? Because you're in India. So, do you have a certain... I believe, actually, I was looking at this the other day, and it's just reminding me... Don't they have the cheapest subscription thing in the world, or one of them?
Yeah.
I think it's like £12 a year or something. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, £10 actually.
a year?
Yeah.
Is that a month?
It depends on the package you get, because if you go for a £10 a year,
Fucking hell,
you can
I'm
get
moving India, mate.
you can add the Champions League into that as well.
That's a joke. Do you know how much I pay?
How much?
So for Sky Sports per month, I pay £30, and that doesn't even show all the games. That shows select games, and then BT on top of that's £20 a month. So you're paying £50 a month essentially, which works out, do quick math, about £600 a year that you're spending on it, and you're spending £10 a year.
Yeah.
On it. So I need to look into certain stuff, because that is absolutely ridiculous. Martial was out, says Vincent Bullock. Yeah, that's something we're not mentioned. But look, are you surprised about that? Like, the grass is green, sky's blue, Martial's injured. He is at this point. I don't want to disrespect him, but he is a box of China plates. You can't put him anywhere because he's so fragile. And when was his last appearance? 20-minute subs appearance, was it? He came on for 20 minutes against. Who was it against?
I think it was when Sancho, Rashford, and him. He came on. I think all three of them came on. I think it was the FA Cup. I think it was the FA Cup.
It was like the Avengers moment, wasn't it? Where you saw Rashford, Sancho, and think like you're in the circle, and you're like, oh, it's going off. And then he came on, played 20 minutes, and apparently he's injured again. So at this point in my mind right now with Martial, I'm kind of just writing his season off. I know it sounds harsh, but what else can we do?
Once again, I think if he gains his fitness, if you want to keep him, but I wouldn't really keep him as a starting striker. Use him as a backup, use him as a secondary or a third striker. I don't really mind it. I think he's still good. He has the talent, but you want a reliable striker. I think what we want right now is someone who has the fitness level and work rate of Weghorst, and someone who can link up the attack and hold up the ball the way Martial does.
Well, but then you want the finishing of Martial. You want a blend in it. So if someone's out there who can kind of blend two players together, I mean, we could have done it with a few years ago, to be honest, with McTominay and Fred, just kind of blend them together, and you still wouldn't have Casemiro because his levels above him. But you think if you can merge a Weghorst and a Martial with you put Martial's touch and finesse and quality on the ball and. Yeah, well, I know you're a fan of Vlahovic. I know you're a massive fan of it. I'm a fan of him myself. Yeah. I have to be honest. I hadn't watched much of him when you mentioned him, but I've watched a bit of clips. He's been in decent form recently. He had a bit of an injury, didn't he? I believe. They came back from, but he looks like a good player, man. Yeah. I've never really seen Ten Hag. You see the links, and it's like Ten Hag likes Ramos or Ten Hag likes Osherman. I haven't seen that kind of strong bit with Vlahovic, but that could change.
Except Frankie de Jong, we haven't had that with any player that Ten Hag likes any player. I think that's the only player, that you can say that, Ten Hag actually really, really wants Frankie de Jong to actually come to United. I think I should ask you this. What was, your judgment of de Jong's performance at Old Trafford yesterday?
So at Camp Nou, didn't think he was great. Yesterday, people might disagree with me. I thought he was good. I thought he was good for Barcelona. I thought he was one of the better players. But he obviously got a big welcome to Manchester from Bruno Fernandes. He got an absolute. Oh, that must have winded him so much. I was looking at it thinking, even I've got bellyache off that. I was just watching it thinking that he absolutely volleyed the ball at him. Yeah. And you think if he joins in the summer, that's going to be something he definitely mentioned straight away. So did you really have to volley the ball off my head nearly, but I thought he was good. Like we know from Frankie de Jong, great ball carrier, press resistant, links up the play between attack and defense. Defense and attack really well. And you can see why Xavi likes him. I think Busquets leaves Barcelona in the summer. Yeah. And I think he will make de Jong the main man in that midfield. And I think that's what de Jong loves Barcelona. Him and his girlfriend love staying there. So I said to Jonathan Schrager that when we did the interview with him the other day, which check out by the way, guys, if you haven't watched it yet, please do. A very good interview with a very credible and reputable journalist, Jonathan Schrager, surrounding Manchester United. But I spoke to him about de Jong, and I said I'm starting to concede it now that he might actually stay there because there seems to be a future there for him in that midfield as the main man, like Xavi was for Barcelona.
Yeah, I think definitely he's talented enough to actually play, do that Busquets role for Barcelona. I think the only thing that can work to our favor is that Barcelona, when it comes to their finances, they are actually really, really terrible right now. Like, they need funds. They're all, once again, they're over the wage budget by about 200 to 300 million. So they are in desperate need of outgoings once
Yeah.
again. And they need players. They need players to go for big money. That's the only way that things are going to work. And uh, the kind of contracts that they've got players on, it's going to be really difficult. But if De Jong has to leave, it might happen. And with new ownership coming in, you can expect those sort of funds, coming about for this sort of a transfer. And
Yeah.
yeah, I think last night I could see why Ten Hag actually wanted him, because
Yeah.
he is that, he is the piece to that jigsaw puzzle. Like Casemiro, Bruno, and Frankie De Jong, the
Unbelievable
fluidity and
midfield.
mobility that they would bring.
Yeah. Well, that was something Jonathan Straker said to me as well. He said, "Do not rule out." From people I've spoken to and connections and stuff, don't rule it out, because Ten Hag, you saw how he literally left it to the last minute to get De Jong.
Yeah.
And before we had to bring Casemiro in, he put everything into that deal.
Yeah.
So there must have been an inkling from the player
Yeah.
where he said, I'm open to joining it, but you have to sort the issue out with Barcelona because something's going on there. So, I don't know what's going to go on with FDJ, I'm going to call him now, because I feel like we said De Jong way too much. But yeah, sorry, just very quickly, 33 people currently in the channel. Thank you again. Really appreciate it. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We're trying to push it up to 1,250, I think.
Yeah.
So if you can help us achieve that, that'd be fantastic. Get your questions in. Mr. Samples in the chat saying, good win yesterday for United. Absolutely. And what that can do for the rest of the season is huge. I think Ten Hag said after the game it was his biggest win at United so far. And you think he's beat City, Liverpool, Arsenal. But beating Barcelona last night felt like prestigious. It felt like, a team like that in Europe, who are top of the La Liga by 8 points, and Madrid battered Liverpool on Wednesday, as we all know. So let me just say it once again. Barcelona are 8 points above Madrid in the league. So it's there's credit in the bank there, isn't there, Shreyas?
Yeah, there definitely is. And it just gives us a big confidence boost. Like, we beat the best team in La Liga, the team that could pretty much, win La Liga by the end of this season. And yeah, like you said, to top it off, Liverpool got absolutely battered by Real Madrid. And the thing is, Madrid battering Liverpool actually works to our favor. It's going to be, I think, conceding 5 at Anfield, it's actually, it's going to affect their confidence a lot, because they were leading 2-0 up in that game. Madrid just they just came back, and the way that they came back into that game, Liverpool, that they just weren't able to stop them. And that's the thing. They got completely overrun in the midfield, and we've got the best players in the world, one of the best players in the world, to do that job for us at Anfield. And I just hope Rashford is fit, because I think this, if you have to predict it in the coming season as well, this is the best opportunity to actually thrash Liverpool at Anfield. Like, this is the best opportunity to actually do it. Like, they scored 5 goals against us at Old Trafford last season. I mean, time to return the favor.
Dave in the chat saying, I agree with Glasses Man. one former Glasses Man to another Glasses Man is agreeing with Glasses Man. We've got a lot of glasses. Good win yesterday. Sorry, Red Devil 92 says we're going to Wembley. Yes, we are, sir. Big up yourself. I already read that out. Mr. Sample said, Rashford's on fire, to be honest. Not going to lie. I'm a Chelsea fan, but appreciate what United are doing this season. I just don't want City winning the league. And this is where it gets a bit dicey, because at the minute, the way it's going for other fans as well is, would you rather Arsenal win the league or Man City win the league?
Neither.
But if it's going to happen, because if City do it, they get the three-peat, right?
Three-peat, yeah.
Yeah, and if Arsenal get it, you're never going to hear the fucking end of it for the rest of your life. You're really not going to hear the end of it. It's going to be alarm bells at 6 a.m, church bells going off in the streets, everywhere. It's just going to be like like every day, just people just reminding you. And I can't be arsed with that shit. So I think actually Arsenal winning the league would be more annoying, but I'd be more disappointed if City got a three-peat, because then there's something that they can all. To be fair, they've got 5 fans, so it's not that annoying. But it's something they can, kind of link with United and say, oh, we've done it as well, or we beat your record. And it's just like, oh, shut up, man. Is he not going to play for the final? Touch and go at the minute, Malinga.
Yeah.
Touch and go.
Yeah.
But right now, he's got to wait for...
Yeah, but I think right now, the way we are playing and the kind of opportunity we have, Rashford would play with one leg in that game. I think he would just with one leg he'll just play.
He'll just fucking wrap it up. And just Dave's saying City win the league because they'll get the title stripped off them anyway. That is a loophole I'm willing to subscribe to. Absolutely.
Yeah, indirectly
let City win it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they will win it by default because Arsenal would have melted off the face of a cliff and then we'll be second. So
I mean, Arsenal are going to be in Conference League next season anyway, so
yeah. I mean, the meltdown is going to be delicious in it. If they do end up really fucking up and dropping down to like 4th or 5th, imagine them not even getting Champions League at the minute. Like, oh my God, the reaction on the internet, Twitter would fucking blow up.
Yeah, and then losing in the Europa League as well.
Yeah.
And
incredible. I know. I'd get her out. Dear me. Oh God. Why don't guys who are in the chat at the minute? Why don't you come and join us for the preview tomorrow as well? We're going to have the preview for the Newcastle game, Carabao Cup Final. We're going to have a lot of the lads on the show to discuss that exciting fixture. We're obviously going to go live if anything breaks about the ownership as well, because I reckon it's been a week since the bids have gone in. So I reckon either today or tonight, tomorrow or Sunday, we're probably going to hear something. But probably,
I think because it's just 3 days till the end of this month. So expect something big coming out the day after tomorrow. Like 27th, you can see something concrete coming out, whether it's from Sir Jim Ratcliffe, whether it's from Dubai, whether it's from Qatar. You still don't know. I mean, the biggest thing is right now we don't really know how many bids have actually come in. We just know about 2 bids that have officially come in, but there are still many bids that have actually come in for United. So there's still a lot of opportunities for United out there when it comes to prospective owners.
100%. Red Devil 92 saying I'd rather see Arsenal win over City. Can't see City win 3 in a row. Yeah. I understand it, mate. I understand it. He also says I think even if Ten Hag knows Rashford can play, I don't think he's we discussed before, didn't we? It's all smoke screens and he'll turn up in a helicopter or on a dragon like Khaleesi did in Game of Thrones, just on the top of Old Trafford. Just like, boom, let's go, bitch, with one of the Tigerian. We've got Nacho with his new haircut as a Tigerian with his blonde hair. Yeah. Oh, love it. I think that's everything, Shreyas, to be fair. We had a lot of people interacting today. I know I've keep plugging stuff and I keep saying please subscribe, but we want as many United fans on this, our fans in general of football on this, communicating with us, interacting. We love it. It's what keeps us going every day to do shows and stuff. So thank you so much for that. Please subscribe, like the video, and tune in for the content we've got. We're going to have a watch along for the final, of course. I'm going to turn up. There's a few of us on it. I'm going to have a 3-piece. I'm going to have a Rolo neck like Ten Hag wears. Honestly, I'm going to go do the full glam thing for that.
Everyone on needs to do it. Everyone needs to do it.
Well, we discussed it. I've got a polo. I've literally got a polo neck and like a black one with a nice, smart grey jacket. So I'm going to turn up in full Ten Hag mode on Sunday. So we're going to have a watch along for that. We're going to be live for the preview tomorrow around 5 to 7 o'clock. So if you're free at that time, please do come and join us. And then, if anything breaks, like we said, around ownership, Shreyas, I'm sure we'll go live, won't we?
Yeah, definitely. So make sure to stick around the channel because there's still a lot of things that are going to come up. And lots of stuff surrounding United at the moment. So if you want the best content for it, make sure to come in, make sure to tune in. So, hope we win the final.
Yeah. Real Reds Talk, socials as well. Sorry, Twitter, Instagram. I would say TikTok, but something's going on with that at the minute. I have no idea. I'm trying to figure it out. But make sure you follow us. Real, authentic Reds Talk. That's what we are. Yeah. Really don't chat no shit on this channel. We speak real stuff. So, been a great show. I hope everybody enjoys the weekend. A fabulous chat as always. And I'm sure me and Shreyas will see you very shortly tomorrow. Take care of yourselves. Peace.